A very good morning to all of you and welcome to the session, the Hindu editorial analysis for proficiency in English. Let us start with the first snippet. Mulla Peria maintenance. There's one important word here, maintenance. You got to be careful with the spelling. What is the reason? Maintain, T-A-I-N. But here maintenance, T-E-N-A-N-C-E. You cannot add maintain plus the last three letters. Maintenance, spelling changes. That you got to be careful. Supreme Court asks panel to look into Tamil Nadu's plaints. Perhaps here it talks about plaintiff, you have to recollect the word. What is the meaning of the word plaintiff? The one who files a case, we use the word plaintiff. The one who tries to defend, we use the word defendant. That you have to recollect and look into, consider or probe into, look into, go deep into, investigate, probe. All these words you have to recollect. We have another snippet here. It shows students. KIIT protests continue. Odisha government promises action over student death. I think one Nepali student committed suicide on campus. When I say on campus, you have to recollect common error. A lot of people say in campus. In campus is not correct. We have to say on campus. Based on that, perhaps they want justice. Based on that, protests. The moment you see the word protest, I've told you guys many a time, as a smart learner, you have to recollect all the related words. What are the related words? Protest, procession, slogans, placards, crowd, mob, go haywire, helter-skelter, loot, plunder. All these you have to recollect. Otherwise, nothing as such. An incident, someone's a Nepali student committed suicide, I suppose, regarding that. Mass layoffs. Mass here means large number. I don't know how many of you know, recently Infosys has been in the limelight. Not for a good reason, for a wrong reason. Because of layoffs. What is the meaning of the word layoff? Remove employees from jobs. You should recollect, Malishwari, very good. Stone pelting also good, Naidu. Pink slip goes with the IT sector. What does it mean? On the spot, they tell you to leave. They may give about 10 or 15 minutes. You have to leave the workplace. That is known as pink slip. A layoff. We can also think of idioms like show the door. He has been shown the door. What does it mean? He has been asked to leave the office or the company. And also you have to recollect terminate someone's services. Terminate someone's services also means the same. Mass layoffs, Infosys denies using intimidation tactics. We have been getting this word and I have told you guys many a time. The word intimidation is very important. What does it mean? Frighten, threaten, intimidate. There are so many ways to intimidate a person. Infosys denies. Deny means to say no, one meaning. To refuse, another meaning. Both the meanings you have to recollect. Denies using intimidation tactics or strategies. Why do companies resort to layoffs? You have to think of a word, a recession. What exactly does it mean, recession? Low economic activity. And usually it is cyclic in nature, begins in the US, spreads all over the world. Once in 10 years or 15 years, that is known as recession. Low economic activity. And that time many companies resort to layoffs because as a measure, cost-cutting measure. Conflict zone, president's rule in Manipur and the road ahead. An important expression, the road ahead, means the future. What does it mean? The future. What is the road ahead for the youngsters? What is the future for the youngsters? And you have to recollect one important idiom. At crossroads, future, his future is at crossroads. What does it mean? Uncertain. Crossroads, everyone knows, like RTC crossroads, but here, as an idiom, crossroads means an uncertain future. The road ahead, the move is a crucial but insufficient step. The president's rule has been imposed in Manipur, we all know that. after Mr. Byron resigned, the president had resigned rather, first action. The center has imposed a president's rule. Based on that, in Manipur and the road ahead, the move is a crucial one. It is crucial in the sense very important or vital, but insufficient step, not enough. That's what it means. Then we have a snippet related to sports. First assignment. You all know I read out the snippet yesterday. IPL started yesterday. The first match between New Zealand and Pakistan, and the second one between India and Bangladesh. It is about that first assignment. Men in blue gear up for Bangladesh test. Men in blue. When you see the word blue, here it means Indian cricket team, but Champions Trophy. But when you think of colors, every color has got something to signify. Red symbolizes danger and completeness. Many people know red indicates danger, but it has another connotation. Red also signifies completeness, holistic. And blue stands for sorrow, melancholy, and sadness, a negative word, negative connotation. And there's one important saying. What is it? Monday blues. He is in blues. Monday blues goes with something negative. Men in blue gear up. This is a phrasal verb. What does it mean? Gear up for something. Get ready for something. In this context, get ready for the first assignment, that is the match with or against Bangladesh. That's all about the snippets, top snippets. Now let us go to the main headline from today's The Hindu front page. What does it say? First time MLA Rekha Gupta to be Delhi CM swearing in today. First time MLA. How to look at this? First time MLA. Pause. First time MLA, what does it mean? She has won for the first time as an MLA. Based on that first time MLA. That is one thing you have to know for sure. Another dimension, when you see the letters MLA, the abbreviation, what is the first letter over here? M. But though it is a consonantal letter, how do you pronounce M? E sound is there, that's a vowel sound. Based on that, we have to say an MLA. Exam point of view, you have to recollect an MLA, an MP, an SP, an FIR, an X-ray. They have been many a time. But two more examples are there, they're not that important. One is an LLB student. They haven't touched so far as my knowledge goes. And also an L plate. They haven't touched so far. First time MLA Rekha Gupta to be Delhi CM. Swearing in ceremony today. Otherwise, nothing to learn from this headline. No one can argue with me on tariff structure, Trump. Slowly, I think recently Trump has declared himself as a monarch. Who is a monarch? A person who is like a dictator, does not listen to an FIR. That's right, Srikanth. They have given many a time. All those examples I have listed out are very important. You have to have at your fingertips. Monarch means what? Dictator. And in a way, benevolent dictator. Very good, Naidu. I tell students, when you think of the word dictator, you have to recollect words like dictator, autocrat, despot. Sometimes what happens, usually dictator, a negative connotation. But imagine someone is like a dictator, but he is like a dictator because he has good intentions. Then we say benevolent dictator. Means a dictator like personality with intention to do good for the public. Here he says, no one can argue with me. There is an important word, argue. I usually ask my students, what is the difference between argue and discuss? Discussion is based on facts and figures, that is objective in nature. Argument is based on personal opinions, that is subjective in nature. Subjective opinion, personal opinion, objective opinion based on facts and figures. I also give a nice quote. It goes this way. What is the difference? Who is an intellectual? Who is a genius? Everyone knows. A wise man. But a wise man never argues. Based on that, what is a popular saying? When a wise man argues with a fool, when a wise man argues with a fool, You cannot tell who is who. Have you got it? When a wise man argues with a fool, you cannot tell who is who. What does it mean? He also becomes a fool. A wise man never argues, a wise man always discusses. That is important. So he has made a categorical statement. No one can argue with me on tariff structure. He wants to be very firm. Reading between the lines, what is that you have to understand? Mr. Trump wants to be very firm, stubborn, affirmative, assertive regarding the tariff structure. He doesn't want to change at any cost. He doesn't want to change his stand. Secure a peace deal fast, Trump tells Zelensky. Secure to get job security, secure position, secure situation. Secure a peace deal quickly. Trump tells Zelensky, Ukrainian head president. Rajasthan budget focuses on infra water projects. All these days we have got the expression infrastructure, but here for the first time we have got infra water. Goes with water bodies, I guess. Rajasthan budget focuses on infra water projects. And we have here a beautiful pic. Any way the wind blows, there's a saying, any way the wind blows, whatever the way the wind blows, means a person sees a situation and goes in a particular direction, in which direction the wind flows, in the sense, the good direction, perfect direction. And it's an idiomatic expression. Any way the wind blows, but in this context it means hot. All these are what I said, beautiful pic. Why is it a beautiful pic? The backdrop is a snow-capped mountains, and forefront you have hot air balloons, an adventure sport very popular in Western countries. It has come to our country perhaps last decade. I'm not quite sure, but recently, hot air balloons carrying tourists float past snow-covered mountains near Manali in Himachal Pradesh on Wednesday. Snow-capped mountains, better expression compared to snow-covered. And when I talk about snow-capped mountains, you have to recollect an important rule that goes with articles. What is that rule? Definite article there should be used before mountain ranges. So what are the important mountain ranges? The Himalayas, the Andes, the Alps. Where do we have the Alps? In Europe. Switzerland. They are also known as snow-capped mountains. And the Andes in South America or Latin America. Once two great civilizations flourished over there. One Inca civilization, the other Mayan civilization. And they also constructed pyramids. Usually people, when they think of pyramids, they think of Egypt. But do remember, Mayans also constructed pyramids. And Andes mountain range. They are enjoying adventure sport, a beautiful thing. And when you see this, it's a beautiful landscape. You should also recollect the word scenery, and an important word. Scenery is a concept. It is abstract in nature. And you have to recollect the rule. We should not use abstract nouns in the plural form, though exceptions are there. A common example given many a time in different competitive exams, the sceneries of Kashmir are beautiful. Is that right or wrong? Wrong. We have to say the scenery of Kashmir is beautiful. That also you have to recollect. We have another snippet kind of a thing over here. SC differs pleas against. Here we have, what does it mean? DIFFER, defer, means to oppose. But DEFER, defer, means postpone, put off, postpone. Please means appeal, plea, request, all these. Scenes, that is a different word. You can use. Scenery is different, scenes are different. Both are entirely different. And mind you guys, abstract nouns, when we say we cannot use in the plural form, there are exceptions. There are exceptions, you have to remember. That is a problem with English. What is a problem? We have rules, we have exceptions. Afghan refugees face eviction in twin cities of Pak. As a smart learner, now I'm sure many of you know what to recollect based on the word refugees. People migrate from one country to another country. Whenever there's a political turmoil, political disturbance, then we use the word refugees. And large number of people migrate from one place to another place because of political turmoil. We use the word exodus. And when they go to some other country, we use, they may be received, they may get shelter. that is known as asylum, political asylum. And they may be treated well, but sometimes they may get subjected to prejudice, bias. Then you have to recollect the word persecution, or negative side. But someone goes to some other country in a royal way. Migration, immigrant, both the words you have to recollect. And they don't get ill treated as such. And you should also recollect the word diaspora. Very good. Here we have two headlines. Karnataka Chief Minister, wife and two others get clean chit in MUDA case. You have to remember this expression. What is that? Get clean chit. Means they have been acquitted, they have been exonerated, they have been absolved. All these you have to recollect. Exonerate means what? Stop blaming. Absolve, stop blaming. And acquit. What is the opposite of acquit? Convict. That you have to recollect. You should also recollect two words, innocent and guilty. Here we have US SEC set to serve what? Serve complaint on Adani's despite Trump's reprieve. Two important words are here. What is the first one? Though it is a name, Adani's, they should have used a definite article, the. Generally, what happens in our country, we say, when we refer to a couple, husband and wife, we say Mr. and Mrs. But in the West, they take the surname, they use a definite article, the, and they try to use in the plural form. The Smiths, the Trumps, the Adanis, the is missing here. US SEC set to serve complaint on Adani's despite contrasting word, and you have to recollect the rule. What is that rule? Adonis, that's a different word. What is a rule? Based on despite. A common error, people use the preposition of after despite. That is not correct. You have to recollect. Trump's reprieve, an important word. Reprieve means an order either cancelling or suspending punishment. Imagine there's an official order to delay, to suspend, or to cancel some sort of punishment. Then we use the word reprieve, an important word. That's all from the front page of today's Hindu paper. Let us go to the editorial analysis. And today it is all about, I think it is about the war, an important topic. Not too many words though. Only 5 words are there important. You are going to get enriched from all these dimensions point of view. A reading comprehension skill, in spite of, should be written as 3 separate words. Good, Srikanth, I appreciate that. A reading comprehension skill, contextual awareness, effective vocabulary, grammar consolidation, and also mini mocks. And I have just used though. You have to recollect the difference between although, though. Both express a contrast. Then comes the question, what is the difference between the two? Although is rather formal, it always comes at the beginning of a sentence. Though rather informal, may come at the beginning or in the middle of a sentence. There's a subtle difference that you have to know because they have given a few times. What is the first word here? Reminiscent. Does it sound familiar? We have got a few times, I suppose. Reminiscent, part of speech adjective, meaning reminding one of something, suggestive of something in the past. When something reminds you of the past, then you say reminiscent. It takes a preposition of something. Remind is a key word. Example, the new foreign policy approach is reminiscent of Cold War era diplomacy. The new foreign policy reminds us of Cold War period foreign policy, reminiscent of. You got to be careful with the preposition. Word forms, reminiscently adverbial form. Word combinations, reminiscent of, suggesting something similar. Word usage, often used to describe things, events, or characteristics that remind one of the past. Synonyms, evocative, an important word, evoke. Something comes out, then we use the word evoke. Suggestive, redolent, an important word we have got for the first time. And you have to recollect, I think from there it has come here. Have you heard of this word anytime? Redolent. That's a new word. Antonyms: forgetful, unmindful. Evoke goes with memories. Who is that? Yes, Madhavi. Perfect. Adversary, another important word. But before you try to learn this word, you have to think of the word adverse. Adverse situation, adverse report. Is it positive or negative? Adverse report means a negative. Adversary, part of speech noun, a person, meaning an opponent or enemy in a contest, conflict, or dispute. Imagine there's a fight, there's a dispute, there's a conflict, and the opponent we have to use. For the opponent, we have to use the word adversary. You have to recollect, now you do good. Friends, what is opposite? Foes. Friends and foes, friends and enemies. Example: the US has long viewed Russia as a strategic adversary in global politics. Means Russia as an opponent in global, but not now. In the past, when it was bipolar world, the US viewed Russia, USSR that time, as an adversary. No longer. Word forms: adversarial, adjective, important word form, and adversarially, adverb. That's also important. Word combinations: political adversary, formidable adversary. Formidable, an important word. What does it mean? Formidable, usually I tell students it goes with opponent, rival. Formidable enemy, formidable opponent, formidable rival means very strong, stronger than you. Then we use that word. Word usage often used in political, business, or sports context. Synonyms: opponent, rival, foe. Someone has mentioned foe. Antagonistic. When you see the word antagonist, you have to recollect the word form antagonistic and the related synonyms. Antagonistic, hostile, enmity, all these you have to recollect. Why kitten can hear Murli? Antonyms: ally, friend, supporter. Rapprochement, a lengthy word. Rapprochement. Have you heard of this any time? Part of speech noun, meaning the establishment or renewal of friendly relations between two parties, especially countries. In a way, it is like reconciliation, patching up. Rapprochement, you can think of the word patch up, restoring friendly relations. Example: the talks in Riyadh signaled a rapprochement between the US and Russia. Means US and Russia, they are going to patch up, reconcile. Word forms: nothing. Word combinations: diplomatic, rapprochement, seek rapprochement, economic rapprochement, all important expressions. Word usage: common in international relations, diplomacy, and political discourse. We have got the word discourse many a time. I give the combination religious discourse. People like Chaganti, Garikipati, what do? Basically, they do, they get into religious discourse. Public, discuss publicly, discussion. Synonyms: reconciliation. This is what I was talking about. When you see rapprochement, you have to think of the word reconciliation, reunion, settlement, accord. Antonyms: hostility, estrangement. Estranged husband, estranged wife. What does it mean? They got separated. That has preacher has a different meaning, Murli, though I appreciate that. Preacher, a person who talks about religion, and we use the word. I teach a subject, teacher. Someone teaches religion, theology, then not exactly theology, but something about religion, we use the word preacher. Proxy, an important word. Part of speech noun, a person or entity acting on behalf of another. Indirect representation. You don't represent yourself, you send someone else in your place, then we use the word proxy, an important word. Agent also you can say. Vishnu, good. And there's one word here, entity. Then you have to recollect the word non-entity. Imagine there's a group, all are very active, but one person quiet, calm, does not say anything. He's like no one recognizes that person, not that important. Then we say he's a non-entity in the group. Example: Ukraine has become a proxy battleground for great power rivalry. Though Ukraine is in the war field, indirect war between the US and Russia. It means that. Word forms proxy adjective, as in war is a noun, so it becomes an adjective. Word combinations proxy war, a war fought by representatives of major powers, act through a proxy. Proxy voting, this is also very common, you have to remember. Word usage often used in politics, warfare, and business. Synonyms: representative, substitute, agent, delegate. Direct principle. Strive. This word goes with you people. You guys have been working day in and day out. Day in and day out means around the clock, putting in a lot of effort to achieve success. Then what is the word we have to use? Strive for success. Part of speech verb. To make great efforts to achieve or obtain something. In this context, a job, government job. Example, Trump should strive for a peace deal that includes Ukraine and Europe. When you read the editorial, you understand whatever peace efforts or peace deal, it has to make all the parties happy. Trump has to take a holistic approach. Burn the midnight oil. Very good. Who is this? Shiva Prasad. Burn the midnight oil. Usually it goes with youngsters like you, students. Before exam, you stay late night, you study. Then we say, and I give the typical example. Many students burn the midnight oil before exams. Yes. Word forms, it's a regular verb. You can also use it as an irregular verb. Striving, present participle, noun or adjective. Word combinations, strive for excellence. This is a typical combination you have to remember. Strive for excellence. Work hard to achieve excellence. Strive to improve. Improve. Based on that, I would like to give a quote. Usually, if you go to IAS officers, there's a general saying. It's a general statement. They believe in something. What do they believe in? They believe in this saying. Improvisation is the name of the game. Have you heard of this any time? Improvisation is the name of the game. Means we should always try to improve ourselves. That is a game. We should not stop with achieving something, stop with small things. Keep improving. Always, improvisation is the name of the game. Strive against justice. Word usage used in personal, political, and motivational context. Endeavor, an important word. Struggle, attempt, exert oneself. Opposite, you don't work hard, never give up. Very good, Vishnu. Give up, surrender, neglect. But when you see the word surrender, you have to recollect another phrasal verb. What is that? Give in. Give in, surrender, yield, one group. Give up has a different connotation. That's all about editorial vocabulary. Let us go to today's editorial. Russia reset. You may not understand if you don't have the background information. What is the required backdrop information? In the past, it was a bipolar world. Bipolar means two superpowers, the USA, the USSR. And there have been adversaries from day one, you can say, not literally, for quite some time. And after that, obviously, adversaries, you see a lot of gap. Now, USSR got disintegrated after in 80s or 90s. Now, the present Russia is not that strong because many countries emerged after the disintegration of the USSR. And based on that, Trump is trying to reset Russia, means create a situation where they have a good rapport with each other. Now it is a unipolar world. But what is the main idea? Any solution to the Ukraine war will have to find acceptance in Europe. This is an important sentence pattern. You guys have to listen carefully. What are the other words for the US? Uncle Sam. And what is the other one? Who is this? Majnu. Uncle Sam, very good. But what is the other one? Big brother. We also say big brother. Any solution. In a nutshell, this editorial is all about the Ukraine war and the peace talks initiated by Donald Trump, incumbent US president. Regarding that, Any solution regarding the Ukraine war has to make or find acceptance in Europe. But there's one important pattern. What is that pattern? Will have to. To understand this, no doubt it refers to future, but to understand this, first you have to know the function of have to. Tell me what is the function of have to? Has to, third person singular, other pronouns have to, the past form had to, I had to do something. It is used to express an obligation imposed by an external authority or a situation. You have to report to the manager, external authority. I have to pay the bill today, situation. And here, before have to, will, that refers to future. Will have to refers to future but talks about an obligation imposed by an external authority or a situation. That you have to recollect. Acceptance in Europe. Let me tell you, when you read very casually, there's nothing to learn. But when you read with inquisitive nature, and you want to learn, oh, what is there? What else can I learn? With that attitude, you try to learn. There's so much to learn. Every sentence, there's so much to learn. Let's see how it starts. The talks between the US and Russian officials in Riyadh, their first major diplomatic interaction since Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022. Which year is this? 2025. It has been going on for the last 3 years. Of course, this is the beginning of the year still. Usually, wars don't last so long, perhaps a few months, but this has been there for years. Since Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022 marks the beginning of a reset in ties between the two former Cold War adversaries. This is what I was talking about. This initiation by the incumbent US President Donald Trump is like resetting the relations between Cold War adversaries, that time two superpowers, bipolar world, and reset the ties between the two former Cold War adversaries, rivals. Led by US Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, the two sides agreed to restore staffing at their respective embassies. They must have stopped for some time, so they want to restore staffing at their respective embassies, explore closer economic cooperation, and set up a high-level team to start talks to end the Ukraine war. It is not only about the Ukraine war, other dimensions are there. Total 3 dimensions. One deals with restoring the embassies and providing the staff, that is the first one. Second one, looking at the potentiality of economic ties. And the third one talks about the Ukraine war. And here, when you see the Ukraine war, you have to recollect the rule. What is that rule? Before wars, before revolutions, before mutinies, we have to use a definite article, the. The First World War, the Ukraine war, the French Revolution, the Russian Revolution, the Sepoy Mutiny. This also you have to recollect. US President Donald Trump has signaled that he might meet his Russian counterpart. Signaled, the reporting, in a way, the verb is in past, so we have to use not may, might. But subtle difference is there. Tell me what is the difference between may and might. Both express possibility. Then what is the difference? May, more chances, might, less chances. Signaled, red flagged, signaled, what? Might, possibility, but chances are less. Meet his Russian counterpart. What is the meaning of the word counterpart? Imagine I'm a manager, I work for a particular company in this part of the world. Same company has a branch in the US, and someone else works over there, same designation. Then how do I refer to that person? I say he is my counterpart in the US. Vladimir Putin later this month and secure the deal. He is going to meet the Russian president to secure the deal, which is a decisive shift in America's policy towards Russia. If at all he gets the deal, he secures the deal, that is going to be a major thing, decisive shift in America's policy towards Russia. There have been adversaries, and today Trump wants to be friendly with Russia. That is a bit strange. Complete transformation, complete shift. It's like taking a U-turn. Under the former Biden administration, the US had emerged as Ukraine's biggest, past perfect, had emerged when Biden was the president of the US. They supported Ukraine. And based on that, the US had emerged as Ukraine's biggest military and financial backer. They supported military backing and also financial backing. The US led. This is also in past perfect. The US had also led global efforts to weaken Russia's economy through biting sanctions. Severe sanctions, you have to take it that way. Biting sanctions, severe sanctions. Mr. Trump has thrown away the Biden policy. Throw away means he did not accept, he did not implement. Thrown away the Mr. Biden policy and adopted a new approach of rapprochement with Russia, patching up or reconcilement with Russia, something reminiscent of, something that reminds of Henry Kissinger's historic outreach to Mao Zedong's China at the height of the Cold War and America's disastrous war in Vietnam. This also you need backdrop information. Henry Kissinger, very popular foreign minister, US, American, and became popular because of his turntables. Very good, Anand, I appreciate. His foreign policy. He went in favor of China that time, and the war with Vietnam was disastrous. Now it is like Trump is doing something like that in a way. It reminds us of that. Trump is in favor of Russia, and based on that, this sentence. Mr. Trump's push for stability with Russia is rooted in a sense of realism. He is rooted in something, on something, in realism, being practical. What is that realism? He does not see Russia, a pale shadow of what the Soviet Union used to be, as America's main challenger. Today, Russia doesn't have the power, the sort of power it had as a USSR. Obviously, because it lost all its power, Trump does not see Russia as the main challenger. Who is the main challenger for the US? Today, it is China is the main challenger, it is not Russia. Based on that, that is being realistic. He wants to extend a friendly hand. He wants to reconciliate. It is unrealistic, but the editorial takes a stand and says Trump's approach is unrealistic. It is unrealistic, as Pete Hegseth, US Defense Secretary, put it, to expect Ukraine to turn around the war. Oh, this is a different sentence. Trump is trying to be more pragmatic, more real, focusing on realistic approach. But there is something related to Ukraine. What is that? A statement given by US Defense Secretary. It is unrealistic, as Pete Hegseth, US Defense Secretary, put it, to expect Ukraine to turn around the war. Turn around the war means to achieve success, to win the war. That is not going to happen. Mr. Trump is also opposed to further American aid for Ukraine. America has been supporting, but now Trump doesn't want to extend the helping hand. And he's not going to support Ukraine. He wants to focus America's resources on China while building a better predictable relationship with Russia, a reverse Kissinger approach. Though it reminds us of Kissinger's foreign policy, here the editorial says it is opposite, reverse Kissinger approach. While this is a broad strategic framework of Mr. Trump's Russia reset, the victim in Russia, the US president is working at one level. He is trying to reset Russia. But in this process, someone has become a victim. Who is that victim? The sentence talks about that. While this is a broad strategic framework of Mr. Trump's Russia reset, the victim in the battlefield is Ukraine, which has already lost over 20% of its territories and thousands of its men. Who is the real victim over here? Ukraine has become the victim. The US, which offered Ukraine NATO membership in 2008, now says such an outcome is not practical. It is not willing to give the membership. It is against that stand. The Trump administration has also ruled out. There is one important phrasal verb. Have you heard of this rule out? The meeting between the management and the union members is ruled out. Means what? Not going to happen. Impossible. Rule out. Has also ruled out security guarantees to Ukraine, passing that responsibility to Europe, which stands divided. The US does not want to take protecting Ukraine, and the US wants to pass on the buck. Pass on the buck means to give the responsibility to someone, to Europe. But Europe divided. Some countries support Ukraine, some countries oppose Ukraine. So Ukraine today does not even have a seat at the table when Russia and America talk. What are these talks about? The talks are about the war, stopping the war. Who is involved in the war? Ukraine and Russia. But surprisingly, paradoxically, ironically, Ukraine does not have a table when it comes to the talks. Have a seat. It doesn't have a seat means Ukraine is not involved in the talks. When great powers quarrel and reset, smaller countries that get caught in proxy conflicts often suffer. It is at a higher level, the US and Russia. And because of that, smaller countries get affected. In this context, Ukraine became the victim. But excluding Ukraine and Europe from any settlement that would determine both Ukraine's future and Europe's security architecture would be wrong, morally and practically. This is a stand taken by the editorial. Any peace talks, any agreement, not including Ukraine, not including Europe, is not acceptable, cannot be justified in a way, morally and practically speaking. That would be wrong. If Mr. Trump wants to build his reset on a strong foundation, he should strive towards a settlement that is acceptable to all parties. If he wants to reset Russia, then he has to work on a solution that is acceptable to all the stakeholders, all the parties. What are the parties who are the stakeholders? The US, Russia, Europe, and obviously the victim, Ukraine. How can they decide, sir? That is a point over here. It ends on that particular note. Now, you have listened to me for about 10 or 15 minutes analysis of today's editorial. Based on your listening skill, if you have already read, based on your reading skill, try to answer these questions based on reading comprehension skill. What is the first one? What is the primary theme of the editorial? Economic impact of the Ukraine war on the US and Russia. If one student responds, then I will. Anand says 1B. The shift in US foreign policy towards Russia under Donald Trump. This seems right. No. Answer is B is the answer. According to the editorial, how does Trump's approach to Russia compare to Kissinger's historical diplomacy? Two names have popped up. One is Trump's policy, the other one Henry Kissinger's policy. How do they stand against each other? This is also B is the answer. Exactly opposite of Kissinger's strategy. Though it remains, it is opposite of Kissinger's policy. What major policy shift has the Trump administration made regarding Ukraine? Always, when you try to answer questions based on reading comprehension skill, in the question, try to focus on the key words. Major policy shift has the Trump administration made regarding Ukraine? Increased military aid to Ukraine? Supporting? No. Ending US security guarantees to Ukraine seems right. And answer is what? C is the answer. Very good. What does the phrase Ukraine does not even have a seat at the table imply? During these peace talks between Russia and the USA, Ukraine doesn't even have a seat or at the table. What does it mean? It means Ukraine has no representation whatsoever when it comes to peace talks. In Russia, US-Russia peace talks, not involved. What does the phrase proxy conflicts mean in the context of the editorial? Is it direct or indirect? Easy to answer. We have come to the fifth one. How come third one? 5, Venkatesh says B. Oh, Lavanya says A, B, C, different options. They are trying to find out whether you know the meaning of this expression. It is not direct wars between superpowers, wars where smaller nations are used as battlegrounds by larger powers. It is not this, it is not this. Answer obviously B. Try to spot the error. These are the parts, same sentence divided into parts. Which part has an error? The union government is flexing its muscles to coerce states into submission, which move also undermines the intent. There should have been a punctuation mark. But which part has the error? Not that easy. A is not correct here, C is correct. Which is not the right word? We have to use this. This can be a demonstrative pronoun, it can be a demonstrative adjective. The union government is flexing its muscles to force states into submission. This move also undermines the intent. This move. Move is a noun, this move, demonstrative adjective. We cannot use a relative pronoun which. We have to use a demonstrative adjective. Fillers, first one, a rigid, one-size-fits-all approach risks cooperative federalism and fostering resentment among states. First, understand the context. Coerce means to force. Understand the context, then choose the appropriate word. Risks, strengthening. We need a negative word. What is a negative word over here? Undermining, weakening. It may weaken cooperative federalism and result in resentment among states. Select the most appropriate pair. Here we have double filler. 2 words you have to select. Policies governing subjects in the concurrent list of the Constitution require flexibility and dialogue to ensure. This seems right. A rigidity, no. Imposition, no. Authority. Flexibility is required. Dialogue, flexibility. Based on that, A is the answer. Phrase meaning, the union government is flexing its muscles to coerce states into submission. So what exactly does it mean? Flexing its muscles. What does it mean? Showing strength or power, engaging in physical exercise, ignoring an issue, adopting. So flex your muscles means show your strength, show your power. Exactly. Who is that? Vishnu. Within no time you come up with those things. Good. Error location, one more sentence. The scheme was designed to ensure equitable access to quality education for all school children and was consolidated the Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, Rashtriya Madhyamik Shiksha Abhiyan and teacher education programs. This is perhaps a little challenging under pressure. You got to read carefully. Here it is, was is not required. The scheme was designed to ensure equitable access to quality education for all school children and consolidated. Was consolidated, not correct. We should not use passive voice. And consolidated, it should be in past. Was is not required. That's all for today. I hope you guys have got enriched. Have a nice day. I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you. చెప్పావా